and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is November 20th, 2017, and your radio host today is Evelyn Lewis. We will be reading the news from the Sunday Fayetteville Observer. Peanut Butter and Jelly Campaign. The North Carolina Guardian and Ad Littering Program is collecting plastic jars for peanut butter and jelly through January 17th for distribution to local food banks and to raise awareness about what it does. Volunteers with the program advocate for abused and neglected children in the court system. Last year, Cumberland County Judicial District 12 served 1,127 children and held more than 6,200 hearings. To become a volunteer, go to volunteerforgal.org. Drop off food items at the agency office in room 2 on the lower level of the Cumberland County Courthouse, 117 Dick Street. A Dickens Holiday. The annual event in downtown Fayetteville is Friday from 1 to 9 p.m., featuring carriage rides, arts and crafts, shopping, and candlelight procession. For more information, call 323-1776. Blanket Drive. The Awakening Movement Incorporated Ministry sponsoring the Cover Me Mac campaign through December 23rd. The ministry is collecting new and gently used blankets and clothing for the homeless and needy families. The goal is to collect 1,000 blankets. It is looking for people to donate and for agencies, businesses, or churches to be drop-off locations. For more information, call 849-1330 or go to hopedreamliveagain.com. Police Ball. The Fayetteville Police Foundation is seeking sponsors for tables at its annual police ball. Sponsors also are needed for officers and their guests. The ball is at 7 p.m. May 11th at Highland Country Club. The event includes dinner, dancing, and silent auction. The nonprofit foundation raises money to assist the police department. For more information, call Cindy McCormick at 433-1746 or 988-0797. We want to hear from you. Please submit your events in writing at least 10 days in advance. Email calendar at fayeobserver.com or fax details to 486-3545. For questions, call 486-3500. Several restaurants open on Thanksgiving Day. Question: which restaurants are open on Thanksgiving Day? A few Fayetteville area restaurants will serve their spin on the traditional holiday meal. This is a full list. If you know of other places that will open on Thanksgiving, including those in the greater Fayetteville area, share it in a comment beneath the online version of this live wire question. Call or email us about it. We'll try to get the information out so others will know too. Boston Market, 1909 Skybo Road, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Carolina Owl House, 161 Glens Ford Drive, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Thanksgiving Buffet is 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. First come, first served. Cracker Barrel, 1470 Skybo Road and 1625 Johnson Road off Interstate 95, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Thanksgiving meals served from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Denny's, 1505 Rayford Road, open 24 hours a day. Fred Chasen's Grandsons, 3901 Ramsey Street, Fayetteville, and 5339 Morocco Drive, Hope Mills, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Golden Corral, 1806 Skybo Road, 9:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Hilltop House, 1240 Fort Bragg Road, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Reservations, which are encouraged because of the limited space, will be taken from 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. IHOP, 1935 Skybo Road, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. and at 7821 Good Midling Drive, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. K&W Cafeteria, 3187 Village Drive, breakfast 6:30 to 10 a.m., lunch and dinner 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m., which includes a Thanksgiving meal special. Ruby Tuesday, 1870 Owen Drive, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 1812 Skybo Road, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 1936 Cedar Creek Road, closed 215 South Boulevard, Spring Lake, closed. Sandpiper, 411 Northeastern Boulevard, 10:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Subway, 1677 Owen Drive, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Waffle House has more than a dozen locations in Fayetteville, Hope Mills, and Spring Lake. All locations are open 24 hours. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Michael Futch. Livewire seeks to answer questions of general interest in consumer topics. Initials are used to identify questioners when names are given. Contact Livewire at fayeobserver.com or at 486-3516. Cumberland County arrest. Megan Louise Gills, 34, of the 5800 block of Houston Place was charged Thursday with assault with deadly weapon, hit and run, causing injury, and misdemeanor contributing to delinquency of a juvenile. Bail was set at $10,000. James Walter Harris, 29, of the 5100 block of Peyton Street was charged Thursday with safe cracking, breaking and entering, and larceny. Bail was set at $657,000. Danny Allen Dowd, 63, of the 1500 block of Bingham Drive was charged Thursday with fraud. Bail was set at $1,500. Heather Ray Kahn, 35, of the 500 block of Cedar Creek Road was charged Thursday with breaking and entering, larceny, and possessing stolen goods. Bail was set at $25,000. Bragg still growing. And now comes word that Fort Bragg is likely to grow again. No surprise here. We've long heard soldiers refer to the post as Pentagon South and the center of the Army universe. It really is. That only challenge is making sure the post can continue to carry out its mission, which means doing a lot of things that Bragg's neighbors have been doing for years, like keeping growth and development along the post borders and helping it solve some of its environmental problems, like making sure some endangered woodpeckers have happy homes. Last week we got more good news. In the next 5 years, post officials expect at least 2,500 more troops will be added to what's already the nation's largest military installation. In population, that's a nearly 5% boost in the post service members, who currently have a number of about 54,000. We can't be sure, but many military experts believe that Fort Bragg is actually the most populous military installation in the world. It got that way because it's much beloved by our defense leaders, but also because of its efforts made by its surrounding cities and counties. A big player in the efforts to help the post thrive is the Regional Land Use Advisory Commission, a nonprofit group that has worked for years to manage growth around the post, including aforementioned service to woodpeckers, but also in recommending zoning and transportation improvements. The latest news about the post's likely growth was announced at a commission meeting last week. We're grateful for its members' successful efforts. I want them to feel acceptance. I want them to pick up a sense of hope. By the time someone comes to this program, if you take a minute to think what they had to go through to get that down on their luck, where they're completely broke, in debt, homeless, kids are behind in school, to have a place where they'll be able to get better at their speed, and they'll have practical, innovative resources to get there. It's just a blessing. Travis Pearson, President and CEO of Family Endeavors, which renovated Reeville Retreat from his former shell of the Jubilee House on Langdon Street, on how he wants female veterans to feel when they walk through the door. The reason why the Pathways for Prosperity Summit is so important is because poverty touches all of us in our community. Councilman Larry Wright talking about a summit held Saturday, hosted by Pathways for Prosperity, a poverty reduction initiative he and Councilman Kirk DeVere championed. We cannot have another fiasco like the Fast Transit Center. Councilman Bill Crisp at a Parks and Recreation Bonds Project Committee meeting on his concerns that the parks and recreational projects could turn out like the Fayetteville Area System of Transit Multimodal Transit Center, which has faced numerous delays and has run hundreds of thousands of dollars over budget. He taught you how to be a man. Ken Spencer, the men's basketball coach of Fayetteville State University, on the death of college basketball coach Jeff Capel Jr., who died Monday at 64. Spencer played for Mr. Capel at Pinecrest High School in the mid-'80s and was his graduate assistant in Mr. Capel's final season with the Broncos. We need a gang to unite, address our violent crime. This is a serious issue we need to address. Fayetteville's Chief Gina Hawkins, who at a city council meeting Monday announced plans to form a gang unit and reorganize the Fayetteville Police Department. We can review top headlines in local, national, and world news from last week. Jeff Capel Jr., basketball coaching legend, dies. What happened? Jeff Capel Jr., a basketball coaching legend who built his career at Fayetteville State University before coaching in the NBA, died Monday after a battle with ALS. He was 64. What it means. Mr. Capel, a Southern Pines native, was diagnosed in March 2016 with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, often referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease. It attacks the nerves, cells in the brain, and spinal cord, and there is no known cure. The Capel family has a deep connection to Fayetteville and Fayetteville State University, where a gymnasium is named for the family's patriarchs, Felton Jeffrey Capel Sr. Hannock to retire as Methodist University president. What happened? Ben Hannock, who has been president of Methodist University since 2011, will retire in May. The school announced Tuesday. Hancock, 65, announced that he is stepping down in an email to the university community. What it means. Hancock is the fourth president of the university, which was chartered in 1956 and opened 4 years later. Mac Healy, chairman of the university's board of trustees, is expected to announce search plans for the position in the coming weeks, with the goal of having a successor in place as soon as possible following Hancock's departure. $17.6 million project to begin at Fayetteville Airport. What happened? A wall-breaking ceremony was staged Tuesday for the first phase of a planned $17.6 million terminal improvement project at Fayetteville Regional Airport. The ceremony included local government officials, dignitaries, and members of the Fayetteville Regional Airport Commission. What it means: construction on the replacement of concourse will include a new elevator, a connector to a new second-level main terminal, with 2 new walkways to the planes and a new restaurant and kitchen space. This is the first phase, and it will take an estimated 18 months to complete. The work is projected to be finished in July 2019. Former Jubilee House reopening next year as Reveille Retreat. What happened? Family Endeavors, a local organization dedicated to serving homeless veterans, opened the doors its new Reveille Retreat home on Wednesday to give community leaders a sneak peek. The organization created the Reveille Retreat from the former shell of Jubilee House on Langdon Street. The new home, which could open early next year, will have space for 8 families or up to 24 homeless veteran mothers and children. The Jubilee House was built in 2011 amid fanfare as part of ABC's Extreme Makeover Home Edition. It fell on hard times and was vacant for a while. Family Endeavors bought it in 2016. GOP braces for extended clash in Alabama. What happened? 3 new allegations of sexual misconduct surfaced Monday against Roy Moore, an outspoken Christian conservative who is running for U.S. Senate in Alabama. One woman told LL.com that Moore groped her during a 1991 meeting in his law office, while 2 others told the Washington Post they were young women when Moore courted them as district attorneys in his 30s. The allegations and 3 others the previous week drove a deep divide between the state and national Republican parties, the Republican National Committee, the Senate GOP's campaign committees, and the party's leading voices in Congress called on the 70-year-old former judge to quit the race. Animal Control Director status on agenda. County Commissioners to consider settlement to end pay dispute. Cumberland County Commissioners are expected to vote Monday on an agreement with the county's Animal Control Director that would pay him $38,000 and end a dispute about his employment status. The director, Dr. John Lawby, has been employed by the county since July 2010. According to county records, the dispute has arisen about him and his employment according to the agreement. Lobby declined to comment Friday, saying his lawyer had advised him not to talk about the issue. Employment included characteristics typically associated with a contract employee, according to a memo sent to the commissioners by the county attorney's office. Commissioners have talked about the issue in closed session, the memo said. The agreement says that Lobby has not been paid certain raises or benefits as a regular employee. He may have been entitled to those benefits, it says. Lobby will receive $19,000 after the commissions approved the agreement and about $19,000 at the end of April, when his contract will end. He will work at least 24 hours a week until then as a contract employee without any employee benefits, according to the agreement. Commissioners are expected to consider the agreement as part of their consent agenda, which includes issues that usually are voted on together without discussion. In other action at the meeting, commissioners are expected to hear a presentation on child abuse prevention plan. They are scheduled to vote on the resolution supporting the plan. The plan was developed by a committee that has been working on the issue since 2013. Commissioners are expected to meet in closed session to discuss economic development and legal matters. The meeting is scheduled for 6:45 p.m. in room 118 of the courthouse. Staff writer Steve V. And he can be reached at sdevane@fayettevilleobserver.com or 486-3572. McDonald's manager has a gift for customer service. Eric Armwood maintained a smile on his face while working at the cash register during the lunch rush hour at McDonald's on Scarborough Road last Monday. He asked a flurry of customers how their day was going, and he didn't mind as manager stepping into the role while some of his employees took a lunch break. His boss, Courtney Goodwin, has known Armwood since he was a young child. She said he always displays an uncanny knack for caring for people. It is really something to see Eric run a restaurant. He has a gift when it comes to connecting with customers. Courtney Godwin. Eric is not content to merely satisfy a customer. He will make sure he vows everyone who comes in. Armwood's talents helped him win the coveted Ray Kroc Award from McDonald's this November. The award honors the top 1% of McDonald's managers around the world. The honor, which Armwood will officially receive on April 18th at the Ray Kroc Awards Gala in Orlando, Florida, comes with a cash prize and a trophy. Words cannot express how it feels to be selected for this recognition. I am numb, Armwood said. I am so honored and proud to be among the group of Ray Kroc Award winners. Armwood, a Fayetteville native, has worked at McDonald's for the last 41 years. As a 16-year-old, he got his first job there by chance. He overheard his neighbor trying to convince her son to go on an interview she set up for him at McDonald's. Her son refused, so Armwood asked if he could go instead. He was hired and started on his 16th birthday. I was so nervous and almost quit, Armwood said. Armwood said he has stayed with McDonald's because they have been so supportive of his family. My kids were proud of their father working at McDonald's, Armwood said. One of his co-workers convinced that he would master the job, and he did. During his senior year at Westover High School, he decided to continue with the company. Armwood worked for Goodwin's father and now works for her and her husband in the McDonald's they own. Goodwin said Armwood helped her and her husband learn the ropes when they took over the Scarborough Road McDonald's in February 2016. He helped train us, Goodwin said. He is an amazing motivational coach and leader. Over the years, Goodwin said Armwood has trained McDonald's employees who went on to become McDonald's managers, teachers, and military leaders. Armwood always takes employees out for holiday outings. Goodwin says she has been impressed with how Armwood takes the time to support all of his employees. Recently, Goodwin said one of Armwood's crew members' grandmother passed away. Goodwin said Armwood visited the crew member. He said he was sorry and shared his condolences. Goodwin said so many people look up to him. Staff writer Monica Vendituli can be reached at mvndituli@fayettevilleobserver.com or 486-3596. For 10 years, Michael and Bridget Mansfield bought their Thanksgiving turkey dinner from Harris Teeter on Rayford Road. Last week, they bought the meal from Publix, about 0.3 miles west. They say it will be delivered on Wednesday. I believe an epic battle is developing between the two grocers on Rayford Road. But don't put the Mansfields in the Publix corner. I spoke with them in Harris Teeter after lunchtime on Friday. The store remains their go-to daily groceries. They buy bulk at the commissary on Fort Bragg. They like both Harris Teeter and Publix and say they want them to be successful. They say they will wait until the crowds taper off at Publix, which opened November 11th, before they do major shopping there. Michael said he has not seen a dip in shoppers at Harris Teeter, but Bridget disagrees. They've been married a long time. Friday's number of shoppers did seem like, Michael conceded. I guess that some people are drifting over there to Publix, he said. Harris Teeter and Publix both offer a shopping experience you can loosely call more than a grocery store. They offer hot food bars and salad bars, floral arrangements, and in-store samples that run the spectrum from regular folks fare to fancy schmancy. Both have numerous employees jetting around during peak hours. Both have a higher price point than your Food Lion or Wally World. It's way too soon to do an accurate comparison because Publix is new and we go bananas for new things in the Ville. Publix is even handing out green reusable Publix bags that say, Hi Fayetteville, smart move, Florida-based Publix is no babe in the woods. Neither is Harris Teeter, as I was reminded. Harris Teeter is extremely proud of his North Carolina roots, which date back to 1936, wrote spokeswoman Dana Robinson in an email. When our co-founder W.T. Harris opened his first Harris food store on Central Avenue in Charlotte, North Carolina. Robinson said they welcome new competition. She talked about Harris Teeter's community service efforts as well as its wide variety of offerings in stores. Publix is no slouch in the variety department either. On Friday, shoppers I ran into weren't Harris Teeter refugees, but Publix people from way back, like Gina Staffieri, an Army specialist who lived across from one in Huntsville, Alabama. She was looking through the greeting cards for her husband's birthday, which is on Thanksgiving. A native New Yorker who grew up with Wegmans store, she says her main grocery store since she moved here in February has been Food Lion. It's alright, she says, but it's no Publix. Staffieri says she liked how well employees treated customers at Publix. Kimberly Reynolds would no doubt second that emotion. She is a Publix spokeswoman. She wrote over email. It's our associates and the legendary customer service they provide that truly set us apart, coupled with our quality products such as our Scratch Bakery. I also talked Friday to Leslie Oakland, a military wife and mom who had just arrived at Publix but had already loaded a turkey into her car. The store had a great deal. She knew the store from Canton, Georgia, and always liked their sandwiches. She shops at Harris Teeter too, the one at Traymore Village. She likes their cookie cake. Harris Teeter is probably more expensive, she said, but it all depends on what you get. It also depends on how you shop. She's a couponer. Over near the refrigerated items, I saw a Krispy Kreme guy, Eric Sands, setting up boxes of donuts. He delivers to Harris Teeter too. He had praise for both places. He knew Publix from when he lived in Florida. Everybody likes Krispy Kreme, I venture. Sands looked around at the new Publix and Chuck led, I sure hope so. Columnist Myron B. Pitts can be reached at mpitts@fayettevilleobserver.com or 486-3559. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SENCRS in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. Your radio host today is Evelyn Lewis, and we are proud to serve you today. Tuttle reaches bakers worldwide. Tammy Tuttle, the incredible creator of elaborate custom cakes, may have left the Capefield region with her husband's military move, but she's still helping bakers here and really around the world. All they have to do is find her online or in publications, and she is in many places. Tuttle, to jog the memory bank, is the wife of Army Sergeant First Class Jacob Tuttle. When he was sent to Korea, she had the children return home to Sulphur, Louisiana. That's just north of Cameron, where 2005's Hurricane Rita hit in the southwestern corner of the state, about 4 hours due west of New Orleans. He comes home next week, and they'll leave and expect to be at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas for 3 years. His deployment came not long after she gained national fame on Cake Wars, a popular Food Network television show. She and assistant Savannah Carr finished runner-up. Not bad for a cook who once upon a time said she couldn't bake a cookie without burning it, and who got her biggest push from her husband. After inheriting her grandmother's handheld mixer, she told Jacob as they watched an episode of Cake Boss, "I can do that." To which he replied, "Okay then, smarty pants, go make me a cake." In 2011, T. Tuttle Cakes, Custom Cakes, was the new business in town, and in 2016 she was one on TV. Since Jacob deployed, she's not only started a blog and YouTube channel, she's been in 3 magazines, American Cake Decorating twice, and also Vermont Bride. While living in Rayford, the Fayetteville area was good to her. Her work was well known, and getting custom cake required advance notice, and that's heavy on the events. Customers will attest. She never disappointed. Her efforts were so successful, she was in the inaugural Fort Bragg Military Spouse Business and Career Dream Conference at the Pope Family Readiness Group Center back in February. Her social media outlets don't disappoint either. The blog is at Cake DNA. She's also at a pair of Facebook landings. It is really helpful to new up-and-coming bakers, Tuttle said. On the blog and YouTube, I teach all the basics for cake design and how to use baking tools. On the blog, it's a one-stop shop for bakers. They can watch my channel and have a list of all the cake tools I use for them to get what they need to work along with me. They also get free recipes on the blog like most good cooks. It's a labor of love. Pure enjoyment. I really love teaching cake design and helping new bakers strive for greatness, she said. Everyone starts somewhere, and knowing your tools and knowing techniques is the number one strategy to being successful in the industry. I want to help. King Party Rentals. King Party Rentals, in business since 1994, has a new location. Previously on Ramsey Street, it is now at 135 South St. King. Rent tents, tables, staging, linen, and more for events, festivals, and parties. St. Joseph of the Pines, one of the largest employers in Moore County, with about 780, provided a community benefit for more than $2 million in a year, in which nonprofit marked the 70th anniversary. The annual community benefit report shows donations of just over $1.9 million in assistance to programs for less fortunate, and another $127,609 to community-based programs. Business Observer. Management. Liz Bruce has joined Meat Interiors as Design and Projects Facilitator. She has 38 years of interior design experience and was named Department of Veterans National Interior Designer of the Year recently for her work with the local VA medical centers. Appointments. Lonnie M. Player Jr. of the Law Offices of Lonnie M. Player Jr. PLLC has been appointed to a 6-year term as a member of the North Carolina Judicial Standards Commission. The 13-member commission investigates and hears complaints against judges at the trials courts and appellate level statewide and makes recommendations for disciplinary directly to the North Carolina Supreme Court. Maureen Kruger, District Attorney in Moore County, has been appointed to the task force on sentencing reforms for opioid drug convictions by North Carolina Speaker of the House Tim Moore. The purpose of the task force is to study and review cases of inmates who are incarcerated solely for convictions of opioid drug offenses that require active sentences under structured sentencing, to consider how to identify inmates who would be able to successfully reintegrate into society, and to develop and consider options for modifying existing statutes. She also serves on the North Carolina Law Enforcement Opioid Task Force. Achievements. Hercules Steel Company Incorporated, from the 27th straight year, has been certified through the audit conducted by the American Institute of Steel Construction, AISC, said Hercules is certified to have the personal, organization, experience, capability, and commitment meeting the requirements of the steel building. Promotions, hirings, and achievements in the workplace. Submissions. To share a story or concern, call 486-3570 or send an email to business@fayettevilleobserver.com. For questions about stock listings or to request coverage of a stock, call 486-3500. For a listing in the Business Observer on Sunday, send items of local interest to business@fayettevilleobserver.com and include a phone number. Our mailing address is the Fayetteville Observer, Business Desk, P.O. Box 849, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28302. Structures category as set forth by the AISC certification program. Hercules has been in the steel fabrication business in Fayetteville for 64 years. Dr. Hal I. Cole, endodontist at Southeastern Dental Specialist in Fayetteville, has completed his board certification by the American Board of Endodontics. Certification consists of 3 phases of examination: written exam, case history exam, and oral exam. Eric Arnwood, General Manager of McDonald's on Scarborough Road, has won a Ray Kroc Award recognizing top-performing restaurant managers globally. He was one of the 340 for 60 markets, representing the top 1% of restaurant managers to receive the honor. Arnwood has 41 years of experience with McDonald's. On the job, Scott Michael Stouch has joined the Methodist University faculty with serve as instructor of English as a second language. Mark Vasilio has joined the Methodist University staff and will serve as an assistant professor of applied forensic science. Odds and ends. St. Joseph of the Pines. In Southern Pines is dedicated the Carita Center as a $1.9 million residential expansion that will soon be home to residents in the early middle stages of Alzheimer's disease and other types of dementia. Bishop Luis Rafael Zarama of the Diocese of Raleigh gave the blessings in a recent ceremony. Alzheimer's is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States, 5th in North Carolina, and 3rd in Moore County, according to the Alzheimer's Association. The center is named for Sister Mary Corredos Geary, a longtime member of the St. Joseph of the Pines Board of Directors, who has served the nonprofit and its mission since the 1960s. Air Force nominates officers for Brigadier General. At least 7 Air Force leaders with ties to Fort Bragg and former Pope Air Force Base have been nominated for promotion to general officers. The nominations were announced earlier this month by the Air Force. If approved, each officer will be promoted to the rank of Brigadier General. They include Hollander Robert K. Lyman, Director of Communications for Joint Specialist Operations Command at Fort Bragg; Michael E. Martin, Commander of the 24th Special Operations Wing, Air Force Operations Command at Hurlburt Field, Florida. Martin has held several commands on the former Pope Air Force Base and current Pope Field. He was the flight commander in the 21st Special Tactics Squadron from 1999 to 2001, Director of Operations for the 24th Special Tactics Squadron from 2004 to 2006, Commander of the 21st STS from 2007 to 2009, Deputy Commander of the 724th Special Tactics Group from 2011 to 2012, and Commander of the 724th STG from 2011 to 2012. Matthew W. Davidson, who is Executive Officer to the Chief of Staff of the Air Force at Washington-Davidson, held numerous commands at the former Polk Air Force Base and current Polk Field, including Flight Commander within the 24th Special Tactics Squadron from 1998 to 2002, Deputy Commander for the 24th STS from 2008 to 2009, Commander of the 24th STS from 2009 to 2011, and Commander of the 724th Special Tactics Group from 2011 to 2012. David W. Snoddy, who is the Executive Assistant to the Director of the National Security Agency and Chief of the Central Security Service. Snoddy previously served as J6 Systems and Services Division Chief for Joint Special Operations Command at Fort Bragg. Robert J. Marks, who is Command Sergeant for Air Force Materiel Command at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. Marks command the 43rd Aeromedical Evacuation Squadron at the former Polk Air Force Base from 2007 to 2008. He is slated to become the Chief of the Air Force Nurse Corps at Falls Church, Virginia. William W. Wittenberger, Jr., who is the Mobilization Assistant to the Director of Strategic Plans, Programs and Requirements for Air Force Special Operations Command at Hurlburt Field. Wittenberger previously commanded the 440th Operations Group at the former Polk Air Force Base from 2008 to 2011. David B. Lyons, who is the Vice Commander of the 12th Air Force at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona. Lyons previously served with the 74th Fighter Squadron at the Polk Air Force Base from 1996 to 1998, during which time he also served as a liaison to the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg. Military Editor Drew Brooks can be reached at dbrooks@fayettevilleobserver.com or 486-3567. Fort Bragg releases Thanksgiving meal schedule. Fort Bragg will host no fewer than 8 holiday feasts this week as it marks the Thanksgiving holiday. Menus will include turkey, ham, Cornish hens, dressing, cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie, and other traditional fare. Troops and those with access to Fort Bragg are welcome to take part in one of the meals that will be prepared on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The meal will cost $9.05 for officers, non-commissioned officers, soldiers, and guests, officials said. The price is $6.80 for spouses and dependents of lower enlisted troops. There is no additional charge for meal card holders. This year's Thanksgiving schedule includes meals at 8 dining facilities. Some will host feasts over multiple days. Each year, thousands of troops and their families dine at Fort Bragg over the Thanksgiving holiday. In the past years, the installation has served more than 3,600 pounds of turkey, 1,233 pounds of ham, 1,140 pounds of potatoes, 780 pies, and 4,506 pounds of fruit over the 3 days of holiday meals. This year's meal schedule includes Tuesday, Warrior Transition Battalion Dining Facility on Normandy Drive, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., 108th Air Defense Artillery. Wednesday, 82nd Combat Aviation Brigade Dining Facility on Goldberg Street, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., 82nd Airborne Division Sustainment Brigade Dining Facility on Long Street, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center and School Dining Facility on Merrill Street, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., 2nd Brigade Combat Team Dining Facility on Gruber Road, 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., 3rd Brigade Combat Team Dining Facility on Butner Road, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Thursday, Womack Army Medical Center Dining Facility on Riley Road, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2nd Brigade Combat Team Dining Facility on Grubber Road, 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., 3rd Brigade Combat Team Dining Facility on Butner Road, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Compiled by Drew Brooks. Thanksgiving feast is a family affair for troops. Drew Brooks. Wearing an Army uniform is a bit like wearing a resume. When I meet new soldiers on Fort Bragg, I can often tell a lot at first glance. I can see their rank, obviously, which can tell me a little about how they experience these things. I can see if they have any special badges, which can give me insight into some expertise. And I can see what unit they are assigned to based on the patch on their left sleeve. The right sleeve, meanwhile, is where a patch will go if the soldiers have been deployed to a designated combat zone. That sleeve denotes whether the soldier has deployed in the past and with whom, but it says a lot more than that, too. A so-called combat patch is a sign not only of service overseas, but also lives put on hold. It symbolizes missed holidays, birthdays, graduations, and more. Nearly every soldier who has been deployed in the past 16 years has missed one or more of those important life events. Perhaps that's why the Army and U.S. military as a whole values Thanksgiving so much. It's more than a day for turkey and stuffing. For many in uniform, the holiday is a reminder of many bonds that tie together soldiers, units, and their families. For those deployed, Thanksgiving is a reminder of the family-like atmosphere of their unit, the men and women they spend time with day in and day out, while doing the nation's work. For those lucky enough to be home, the holiday can serve as a reminder that they haven't or won't always be there, a nod to past holidays celebrated on opposite continents. This Thanksgiving, thousands of Fort Bragg troops will be away from their families. There are 3rd Special Forces Group soldiers who will spend the holiday in Africa. There are 82nd Airborne Division soldiers who will mark the day in Afghanistan or Iraq. Military leaders will no doubt try to ensure that each has a traditional Thanksgiving meal. I can attest to those efforts in the past. In 2014, I spent the holiday with about 700 members of the 82nd Combat Aviation Brigade in a hangar at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan. In 2011, I marked the holidays a few days early alongside soldiers of the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne Division in Baghdad, Iraq. The soldiers had an early meal because with the war in Iraq then winding down, the troops were moving out from Baghdad. The holiday feast was their last hot meal before arriving in Kuwait days later. The military always puts an emphasis on Thanksgiving. Many cooks have told me it's the Super Bowl of military meals. It's certainly a spectacle with grand feasts and extensive displays, both at home and abroad. I've asked why it's such an event, and cooks have told me it's more than a distraction. Thanksgiving is a huge event because it's a huge celebration. Not all troops can be at home for the holiday, they've told me, but all can be with the family. It's just that sometimes it's not the family they were born with, but their Army family. Military editor Drew Brooks can be reached at dbrooks@fayettevilleobserver.com or 486-3567. Fort Bragg soldiers display art for Warrior Care Month by Drew Brooks, military editor. This exhibit had been a little bit of everything. On one easel, a painting of a snowy pine landscape under the northern lights. On another, a North Carolina sunset, and there was a lush waterfall as well as something more abstract with a pair of open lips floating on the canvas. Tables displayed wood etchings, photography, stained glass, pottery, and knitting. The eclectic exhibit, which was on display Wednesday, had an overarching theme. Every piece of art was the product of a Fort Bragg soldier recovering from an injury or illness. For most, like Sergeant First Class Lucretia Riddle, it was the first time any of their work had been displayed for the public. It's kind of cool, Riddle said after seeing her work on this display at Fort Bragg's Warrior Transition Battalion. This is something that I did. Most people don't think of soldiers as artists, she said, but since being assigned to the Warrior Transition Battalion in June, Riddle has been among those challenging expectations. Riddle had dabbed in painting and pottery before, but she has added new skills to her repertoire, like stained glass and knitting. I like doing it, she said. It's all about self-improvement, and it's therapeutic. It takes me away from whatever else is going on. The exhibit, part of a Thanksgiving meal the Warrior Transition Battalion hosted, was an opportunity to highlight the battalion's art therapy program, said Lieutenant Colonel Philip B. Brown, Jr., the commander of the Fort Bragg WTB. The exhibit also is part of the battalion's larger Warrior Care Month events, which have included a wheelchair basketball tournament, at the rededication of the WTB complex for Medal of Honor recipient Rodolfo Hernandez. Brown said that art therapy program was one of many ways the unit helps soldiers cope with their injuries and illnesses. It's a vital part of what the battalion does, he said. In addition to art, the battalion also offers therapy to help soldiers learn how to adjust to new normals in their everyday lives, including how to cook and meet new limitations caused by injuries. And as of last month, the unit offers music therapy too. Karen Tiller, certified occupational therapy assistant who works with the Warrior Transition Battalion, said the art therapy is self-directed. It's a group more than a class, she said. There's a lot of social interaction. No skills required. Instead, Tiller said she wants the soldiers to try something new and hopefully find something they like. Riddle said soldiers learn from each other. Many haven't been involved in an art project since their school days, but Riddle said everyone is welcome to try, and many come away surprised at their own hidden skills. They take a pencil to a sheet of paper, and out of that comes something beautiful, she said. Brown said Warrior Care Month, the Department of Defense initiative, is an opportunity to educate the Fort Bragg community about what the battalion offers. It blends adaptive reconditioning and occupational therapy to help injured and wounded soldiers return to duty, he said, or it prepares them for their post-military careers. On Monday, the unit will host one final event for the month, an education at the Entrepreneur Fair at 9 a.m. at the Soldier and Family Assistance Center. The event is for current and former WTB soldiers and their families. Four charged in death of firearms. 4 men have been charged after 10 firearms, ammunition, and other items were stolen during burglary attempt Saturday at Fayetteville Police Department news release said. Officers responded to the 1800 block of Cherokee Drive off Bragg Boulevard in reference to a person calling 911 about a possible burglary in progress. The release said officers arrived around 1 a.m. and saw 4 men running away. The officers caught the men and arrested them after a brief chase. Antonio Tippett, 31, of the 600 block of Langdon Street, was charged with 10 counts of larceny of a firearm, 10 counts of possession of a stolen firearm, second-degree burglary, larceny, possession of stolen goods, and conspiracy. Bail was set at $120,000. Tyler Smith, 18, of the 1800 block of Bridger Street, was charged with 10 counts of larceny of a firearm, 10 counts of possession of a stolen firearm, second-degree burglary, larceny, possession of stolen goods, and conspiracy. Bail was set at $58,000. Daryl Baker, 20, of the 4300 block of Camden Schrader Drive in Wilson, was charged with 10 counts of larceny of a firearm, 10 counts of possession of a stolen firearm, second-degree burglary, larceny, possession of stolen goods, and conspiracy. Bail was set at $100,000. Stevie Reed, 23, of the 1400 block of Thelbert Drive, was charged with 11 counts of larceny of a firearm, 11 counts of possession of a stolen firearm, second-degree burglary, larceny, possession of stolen goods, carrying a concealed gun, and conspiracy. The release said he was charged with possessing a stolen firearm from a previous breaking and entering investigation. His bail was set at $140,000. Monica Vendituioli. Businesses lure seasonal help with chances for other jobs. New York. Every fall, the staff count of Fun.com swells from 150 to as high as 2,000 as the online retailer fills orders for Halloween costumes and decor. The company offers its seasonal staff at the warehouse in North Mankato, Minnesota, an incentive to perform well. Those who do will be recommended for jobs at the greeting card manufacturer in town. That business needs between 300 and 400 people soon after Fun.com lets its seasonal crew go, says Joe Riska, the company's head of human resources. Since they've already gone through a season and shown they can do good work, now they can go work for another company, he says. Small businesses that need extra help during holidays or other busy times of the year are looking for employees willing to work hard and help the company meet its increased demands for products or services. So some owners approach recruiting and managing with the goal of turning temporary workers into long-term ones, or helping them find other jobs. It's a strategy that's critical when the national unemployment rate of 4.1% has shrunk the pool of candidates. It can be hard for a business to find seasonal staffers if it only offers them a short-term paycheck, says Melissa Hassett, a vice president at staffing company Manpower Group. Many of these workers want to learn new skills. A lot of people will love more career growth over time, Hassett says. But owners need to manage their seasonal workers' expectations and be clear what their chances are of getting a permanent job, says Carrie Gunnell, an employment law attorney with Morgan Lewis in Costa Mesa, California. Some workers take a job hoping that it won't end when the season does. Make sure you say that you intend for the job to be seasonal. Gunnell recommends to owners who expect to let workers go when business slows. At fun.com, the seasonal workers start arriving in August, and most work until Halloween. About 10% will remain through Christmas to handle holiday shipments. Recruiting and managing that many temporary workers can be difficult, so the company increases its human resources staff from 3 to 15 people each year. It recruits college students looking for HR experience that they can list on their resumes, Riska says. When appliance maker New Air recruits workers for its busy seasons, warehouse manager Ronnie DeLeo tells prospective hires that they have the chance to keep their jobs when the sales surge is over. While they're working, they'll compete for permanent jobs with New Air's existing staff. New Air, which makes small appliances like wine coolers and ice makers, takes on the seasonal help for the summer and winter holidays. The company's warehouse in Cypress, California has about 20 employees and hires 10 during the periods when orders from online customers and retailers soar and there is more to pack and ship. During interviews, candidates learn that the company tracks employee productivity on a public scoreboard, and everyone knows the highest performers keep their jobs when the busy season ends. I've had cases where I've had fresh, new, driven, and excited people working a lot faster and being more motivated than current staff members, Leo says. The company works with employees to help those who need to improve their performance and pays a severance in some cases when workers are let go, says product marketing director Andrew Stevenson. The competitive strategy is part of the New Air's long-term growth, Stevenson says. We want to double, if not triple our business in the next few years, he says. In the warehouse, the pace is going to increase and we have staff accordingly. Hugh Jones hires 25 people every spring for his Mosquito Squad franchise to install and maintain outdoor pest control systems through the end of October. Jones, whose territory includes Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point in North Carolina, believes that providing his seasonal employees with career counseling and mentorship will motivate them to do good work. Rather than say, come here, come work here, it's wonderful, we say, let's work here and help you find a wonderful job, Jones says. OxyContin maker approaches states with a settlement deal. OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma is proposing a global settlement in an attempt to end state investigation and lawsuits over the U.S. opioid epidemic, according to people familiar with talks. Purdue's lawyers raised the prospect with several southern state attorneys general who haven't sued the company as they try to gauge interest for a more wide-ranging deal, said 4 people who asked not to be identified because the talks aren't public. Opioid makers are accused of creating a public health crisis through their marketing of painkillers. More than a dozen states and about 100 counties and cities already sued Purdue, other opioid makers, and drug distributors in a strategy echoing the litigation that led to the 1998 $246 billion settlement with Big Tobacco. This sounds like the opening bid and settlement talks, said Anthony Sabino, who teaches law at St. John's University in New York. It also sounds like they are trying to convince some of these states' AGs that they don't need to bring their own suits. A group of 41 attorneys general are also investigating how companies like Purdue and other opioid makers marketed and sold prescription opioids. It's not clear whether Purdue's lawyers are authorized to speak for other drug makers facing opioid suits. But the people familiar with the talk say Purdue's attorneys are looking for a global accord to include all U.S. states' claims against all manufacturers. Robert Josephson, Purdue spokesman declined to comment on the settlement discussions. The company said earlier that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved OxyContin for use as a painkiller and approved the safety warnings. Cases focusing on opioids are targeting a government-regulated product. The company said that the means judges must defer to the FDA's finding that the painkillers are safe and effective, and that Purdue properly disclosed addiction risks on its warning label, according to the company's filing. Stanford, Connecticut-based Purdue hired Sheila Birnbaum, a veteran mass tort defense lawyer, to help guide their legal strategy and put together a settlement game plan. Two other people said she's a partner with New York's Quinn Emanuel, Urquhart, and Sullivan. Nicknamed the Queen of Torts, the 76-year-old Birnbaum helped negotiate big-dollar settlements in the past, including lawsuits against Pfizer Incorporated. This concludes our reading of the Sunday Fayetteville Observer. Your radio host is Evelyn Lewis. Coming up next, a broadcast of Harnett County News, the Rayford News Journal, and Robesonian. We've enjoyed being with you this evening. Thank you for tuning us in. Have a wonderful day.